welcome everyone to the first Bid for My Meds webinar. We've recorded some webinars in the past just to explain what we're doing here, but we're on the verge of opening this up to everybody. And webinar is really kind of an explanation of what we've been doing, because all of you that are in attendance tonight probably have heard all the great stories about what we have, and maybe you've actually signed up or used the site or anything, and there's a lot of questions out there, and so we thought it would be best if we just answered them all and then gave you a forum by email to more questions, which people are already doing. My name's Paul Schneider. I've been involved in the development of the product. Craig Barnes is going to join us tonight, and Craig is the company president and owner. So I'm going to kind of go through the system just so you feel comfortable with what we're doing here and how it works. I have to mute that out. I apologize. There's some, let's see, enable sound. I don't know. I got to mute them out or something. I apologize. Somebody's making some noise. But there's two pieces to this business. There's the Bid for My Meds site, which is a website for people that are consumers to get the benefit of this electronic marketplace. It's designed like Priceline is for airline tickets and for hotel tickets and so forth, hotel rooms and other things that have become common. Prior to that, it was all agencies when you went to buy a plane ticket. Well, now we're able to do the same thing with prescription meds, except we have a patent on it, which is really good. And the supplier, the engine to Bid for My Meds, Bidrx. So I'm going to kind of jump between the two. So the Bid for My Meds is a portal for consumers and people involved in the business opportunity to become involved in this. And we have an exclusive arrangement with Bidrx. So I'm going to jump between the two, and you're going to watch them work. For those of you that have had some experience with Bid for My Meds, you might know that we accepted a small number of orders, and we did that to do load testing. All of the software for this thing is custom built, as you can imagine. The payment plan is really got a lot of overhead involved in it. In other words, the computer processors and the memory are used up in a big way in order to make everything happen we promise it happens. So we had to do some load testing and stuff, and just yesterday alone we actually increased the server capacity 4 different times so we could have a million people on here. And we didn't know we needed to do that until we actually had live people signing in. So some people were frustrated, complaining that they have issues that I've got somebody here making noise. I apologize for this. I don't know who it is or somebody, this person. Okay. So if you could mute yourself out, if you can, that would be important. But the load testing is important. Yesterday, as I said, we upgraded the servers 4 different times, and we then added something, and I don't want to get real technical with you all, everything in the Amazon Cloud Network. The same people that make the Kindle reading device in the Amazon.com for buying books, they're the largest corporate company in the world, and they have network operation centers all across the United States and all around the world. So we use their backbone, okay? And we use something called the Elastic Cloud, which we turned on yesterday. We can expand and contract as needed and have millions of people using this. The reason that's important for you to know is because it affects your income. With us being able to handle this kind of capacity with an enormous, very successful company, Amazon.com, using their backbone, we're able to provide this to millions of people without a glitch. But we had to go through the live testing, and there was a bunch of people that called up, you know, using choice words. Why didn't I know this? Why didn't I know that? So we put in just a very limited number of orders. And today, at about 2 hours ago, we shut down the Join Our Savings Plan link down here. We're going to reopen it up, but we wanted to shut it down because now we know, you know, the test of paying commissions and delivering the products, that's going to work fine. That doesn't mean we're not going to be tweaking things and adding different links and adding all kinds of marketing tools in your back offices and things like that. So there's a whole lot of other stuff, but the system is the product it delivers, and the compensation is working flawlessly now, but we had timeout errors where people just couldn't log in and sign up, and we had to literally go through live testing to do that, and that frustrated some people, and I apologize for that. That's why we're recording this, so that if they didn't make it tonight, they can hear it. So it's really exciting what's happening here. We have some fantastic partners here, and basically an electronic marketplace that is patented not only in the U.S., but 6 other countries. Right now we're in the U.S. only, by the way. But we have people joining us outside the U.S. because they know marketers here, so they're getting involved. So that's the Bid for My Med side. This is the portal for non-governmental agencies to use this thing. Now I'm going to jump over to a little slide, kind of go through it briefly. Bidrx, Introduction to the Competitive Electronic Marketplace. If you haven't been there, you can go to bidrx.com, and you can see the website working. Let's see. It just says it pretty plainly here. Prescriptions at a fraction of the usual cost. 75% of all Americans, this is of every man, woman, and child in the United States, 75% of them in the last 6 months took a prescription medication. So it's an enormous marketplace, and with all the pressure from the Affordable Care Act / Obamacare that's created on the system, it was already under a lot of pressure, and this has added additional pressure for people to seek relief and find lower costs. Okay, people of all ages, all backgrounds. My mom's on Medicare Part D, and she has United Healthcare insurance, and she's 85 years old. In 3 weeks, she'll be 85. Mom just moved into a retirement center, and she said, hey, by using your Bid for My Meds plan, she went through all her prescriptions. She has it all printed out and went through it, and she said, I'm going to save $110 a month. And all she says to me after looking at it is, where do I sign up? And I've heard that over and over and over. So that's what we're here for. That wrapped around a business opportunity. So it's kind of like a perfect storm when you look at it. It's like you've got all this pressure from governmental agencies, insurance companies that are having to raise their deductibles and limits you have to meet. They're not covering as much with prescription drugs, and just one thing after another all leads to a great business. Competition crushes the cost. Basically, I want to run through this quickly, but it's just like Priceline. It used to be if you wanted to buy a ticket to go from St. Louis to Los Angeles on short notice, it might cost you $1,500. When Priceline started they're letting the airlines all bid on filling a seat that they might have not have sold, all of a sudden you could buy it for $200. Okay, so that's what we're doing here, and we only deal with U.S. manufacturers and U.S. bricks and mortar pharmacies. No offshore stuff. They are not allowed. They are not legal. Okay, so this is U.S. pharmaceutical companies, and we have every single pharmaceutical product sold in the United States. So you might say, well, who's used this? Well, and who's vetted us? Well, NBC News for one, but you've got CBS This Morning, the Clark Howard Show, Colonial Life, Reader's Digest recommends us, Trilogy Health Insurance, the state of different cities in the state of Ohio, state of Wisconsin, their Medicare program. So there's some big opportunities here. And this slide I really like. This really gets right to the core of what we're talking about here. People say, well, the price leader in the United States is Walmart. So we just compared what Bidrx can do to Walmart. Took a real life case study of a couple that is spending, well, right now at Walmart, they were spending $1,414 on these medications. And with Bidrx, those exact same medications, exact same dosages, they spend $160 a year. And 3 of these medications are on the $4 a month plan. You might not know this, but Walmart and a lot of big grocery store chains have medications at real low prices, and they have a limited list of 200 or 300 or 400 drugs. But these are drugs that are commonly used, and they use that as an enticement to get you to shop at their store, like every other store does. But look at these, even these low-cost drugs, we're way under those. And you look at the savings here, anywhere from 95% to 64%. So that's just, examples. I'm going to buzz through some more. This is, people say, is this like those medication cards, those pharmacy discount cards? No. Huge differences here. We compare to lowestmed.com, and we show you what the savings anywhere from 90% to 14%. And something you might want to remember as you're demonstrating this to people, because you're able to show everyone live how much money they're going to save prior to them spending any money. So that's what's exciting about this. You know the outcome of what's going on. I'm going to have to find out who's talking here. This guy, this Lucky Larry. I apologize. There's people making a lot of... I don't know how to mute everyone. Okay. So we have... an opportunity to really help a lot of people. I apologize. There's people, if you could mute yourself, if you're on this call, they keep talking and making noise. That would be nice if you could mute your microphone. So a live demonstration is the best way to show somebody how well this works, because most people are suspicious. They go, oh, I've seen those other pharmacy plans. I apologize. There's somebody else making noise here, and I don't know why this thing's not letting me just... stop them. So let's see. Too big a list to grab all the people that aren't. Okay, so I appreciate whoever muted themselves. Demonstration to show you the value of this before they buy is what it's all about. It'd be like you buying a diet supplement and knowing in advance before buying it that if you just take it, you're going to lose 20 pounds this week. Well, you couldn't make enough of it. But unfortunately, most of these pharmacy discount plans and all that stuff, they really don't live up to what's billed. We've compared this against dozens of plans, and we're always 40% less or more. And you can see us against Walmart. You know, we're up to 95% less. So it's good timing with all the issues with healthcare and all the business. Tens of millions of people that don't have adequate coverage for prescription medications, that they have decent insurance. The co-pays and the deductibles force them to pay a lot of money out of their pocket. So it couldn't be better timing for this. And when you think 75% of all Americans in the last 6 months have taken a prescription drug, and prescription drug prices have doubled in the last 10 years. Okay, two founders here, Dr. Ralph Calise, one of only 14 clinical pharmacy scientists in the entire United States, and Dr. Tom Kellenberger. I've spoken at length with both gentlemen. They're great guys. You'd love to talk to them. They're regular guys too, even though they have this, you know, incredible background. They're pretty just regular down-to-earth guys. One guy that's involved, the former head of Health and Human Services, Governor Thompson, who's also U.S. Secretary of HHS, but he's involved as an advisor in the Wisconsin Medical Society, their insurance division. And, you know, there's testimonials here. I'm going to jump through this, but all of you on this webinar will have access to this little slide thing in your back offices. And here's another comparison, medsaver.com, NACO.org, and so forth. But, you know, here's another comparison chart. And what I want to do right now is just go over to Bidrx. I apologize. Okay, let me move this up here. I should have been better prepared for Bidrx.com. But when you do go to Bidrx.com, if you just want to log in as a test, you might want to write this down if you have a pen. You can use as a user ID. Obviously, those of you that have already registered, you have a user ID and a password. But if someone else wanted to look at it, they can use the word guest in the numeral 1, guest 1, all lowercase with no space, okay, and then RX demo. Okay, so they can see it work. And RX, pharmacy prescription, RX demo, all lowercase, is a password. So you log in, and you see all kinds of data. There's a safe medication list here, safemedication.com. By the way, every single pharmaceutical substance manufactured and sold in America is added as new derivatives have come on board and new products are released. It's included here, so you don't need to worry about that. Plus, all the clinical information is here so people can look up incompatibilities and so forth. And pharmacies can all sign up for free if they want to be part of the bidding process where they're bidding against other pharmacies. That's all free. And your healthcare provider can log in for free. You're able to go in, issue them a code number just by saying I want to share it. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's your pharmacist, maybe it's a doctor, maybe it's a son or daughter, or vice versa, whoever it is, some advocate that's involved in your health care or you're involved in theirs. you can let them into the account and they can see what you're taking and if there's an issue or something that's happened or you're concerned or a doctor's concerned. So it's really a robust system, and this is a patented system. So the only thing you need to know about this page is this little blue button here that says Start Auction. And we list all the most common drugs here first, okay, A through Z, and then down here alphabetically, or you can just search. And you're going to find all kinds of products. There's a product that men take, Flomax. I'll click on it. I hope this doesn't hurt anyone's feelings, but it's a drug used for men who have trouble urinating. Okay, it's a common problem as men get older, and you see it advertised heavily on TV. So, you know, you look at something like Flomax, and I click on the brand name, and find that you know, there's only one dose, 0.4 milligrams, and you just type in whatever dosage you've been written. I'll just put in 10 capsules. I'm going to put for 10 days. It'll do the rest of the math for me. But just on your prescription bottle, you can see it work, and I'm going to hit next. I'm going to put brand required, Flomax, and it's going to be expensive, I guarantee it. Okay, so it shows you hey, $65.72, and I hit get instant bids, and goes, you know, the price is somewhere in the normal pharmacy realm. This product sells for a couple $100, so you're way below the market at the beginning. But the best thing is with this bidding process is you know what you're spending. My mom, for instance, I told you, she's 85 years old. She's on 6 medications, and she is really good health care insurance for United Healthcare, and she's on Medicare Part D. And she looked at it and she said, with all my stuff and my copays and all this stuff at Walgreens and CVS, she saves $10 with us. That's all people want to know. My wife looked at it. She takes Nexium, which is for acid reflux, which is commonly prescribed. She saves $41. Okay, it's a great deal. We have insurance with Aetna, so it's a good product. And you can go through example after example. But I want to talk a little bit about the real thing. We have with us tonight Dr. Gregory Page from the Sparta, Grand Rapids area, which is in western Michigan, kind of near Holland, Michigan, if you're familiar with the geography there. And Dr. Greg Page has a very large practice. He has 3,500 patients, and he was nice enough to join us tonight. I'm going to unmute this, and hopefully he's there. Hey, Dr. Page, are you there tonight? Hold on here. I don't know what he did.
Bicycle.
Okay. Are you there? Hello? Hello? Is he there? I can't hear him. I apologize. I keep getting other people kind of... Where did Dr. Page go here? I don't even see him now. I mean, I apologize. I'm just trying to... Now it's alphabetical. Gregory Page. There he is. I don't know why it moved down here. Promote to presenter. Hey, Dr. Page, are you there? Hello?
Hey, Paul, you got me.
Okay, good. I apologize. I'm just trying to, you know, get you on to say a few things. We have a lot of people on with us tonight, and, you know, you're at ground zero in terms of writing prescriptions every day and seeing what people are experiencing. And, you know, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but you see a lot of people. So what would this mean to a lot of them?
Yes, sir. Well, I'll tell you, this is going to be huge for my patients. I've been waiting and waiting for this to go live, and I can't wait for this to become available for my patients to use. I've been sharing it with people in the office for about 3 or 4 weeks now, just asking them when they're in for a visit, you know, if there was a system available, you know, that could get you your medicines for a much lower price, would you be interested in that? I ask them how much they're paying for the medicines that they're on, and then I actually pull up Bidrx. I haven't been naming it to them. I've just been saying this system is going to be available soon. Let's see what your medicines would be in this system. And I do a few bids and start telling them what their medicines would cost. And by and large, they're just astounded by how much they can save. And pretty much all they want to know is, when is this going to be available and how do I get started doing it? Frequently, you know, we can save people $50, $80, $100 a month on their medications. Often they're on a bunch of generics, because I do use a lot of generics, and they're paying, you know, $15 a month copays on their generics. Well, most of those Bidrx can get for about $5 for 90 days delivered to their door. So they're saving quite a bit of money on each medication, and then they're taking 6 or 7 or 8 of those medications frequently, or even just 4 or 5, and it adds up really fast. And so I asked them, would it be worth $7 a month to you to have this kind of a system available to you? And of course, invariably, the answer is yes, and they're all wanting to know how they can get started. And there's going to be more and more patients who are going to benefit from this system. As you were alluding to earlier, there are a lot of people who are not insured. There are a lot of people who are underinsured. A lot of people who are insured have very high copays on their medications. And with Bidrx, we can usually come well under their copay. You know, they might have a $20 copay on a medicine, and we can get 90 days for $5. Well, that's $20, $40, $60 versus $12 if you count the monthly fee. We're saving them quite a bit of money. And you multiply that by 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 medications, whatever they're taking, and it starts to add up really fast. And people are really excited about this. I shared it this morning with a 92-year-old guy. He's a really neat guy. Still goes out on the golf course. 6 or 7 or 8 medications, and I started telling him about it. Really sharp guy at 92. And as I was telling him what the cost was for each of his medications, his eyes got bigger and bigger, and he just looked at me and he said, "I'd be very interested in hearing more about that, Dr. Page." So we're going to have a conversation here after we go live, and my buddy's gonna probably become a customer and get big savings on his medications. With Obamacare coming, with the Affordable Care Act that's on its way, we're here now, I guess. A couple things are happening. A lot of people are ending up on insurance that has a very high deductible, $4,000, $5,000 a year, and they're paying $150, $180 a month for the privilege. Then they have to spend $4,000 or $5,000 before they start to get any benefit. If those people have prescription medications, really in their best interest to spend as little on those prescriptions as they can. Chances are they may never get to their $4,000 deductible. They never may get any benefit from the insurance that they're paying for. Let's help them save on their deductible and keep some of that money in their own pocket. The other thing that's happening is a lot of companies, because of the cost of having to carry insurance now under the Affordable Care Act for so many people, if they have a spouse that's covered and that spouse works somewhere else, they're saying, no, we're not going to cover them anymore. So a lot of people are getting let go from good insurance that covers medicines very well, and they're being forced into some of these insurances that have the high copays and the high deductibles. So the numbers of people that need our service are growing every day.
Boy, good timing for this. You know, I'll bring up something, Dr. Page, that I found interesting. And this came from NBC News, their senior investigative correspondent. And it's just talking about Extreme Dodge up in Jackson, Michigan. I don't know what part of Michigan that is, but they're talking about one of the ladies that works there. She has a good job, and they said, you make too much. And she said in this article, which we'll make available to everyone, you know, that her prescription medication cost is going to kill her. It's going to kill me. Is what her, you know, you're right. That's right on target. We see this in every major newspaper. It's on every televised news show right now. It's just nonstop in the news about all these costs that are just unbearable for people at this point.
This is exactly what's happening out there, Paul. And I'll tell you, I've said this before. Every week, I have 3, 4, 5 patients. The only purpose of their visit is to come in and ask me, what can we do to reduce the costs of my prescription medications? Doc, I can't afford all this. It's costing too much to get my medications. Can you give me something different? Can you give me a generic? How can we pay for these medications? And you hear these horror stories, but they're true. There are people out there who have to make a decision each month about whether or not to get their medications or whether to pay their heat bill, whether to get their medications or whether to get their groceries, whether to get their medication or whether to pay their rent. and it's happening quite a bit. I actually had a lady today was talking. Oh, I was talking to her about medications, and I asked her how she was doing with paying for them, and she said, you know, she had pretty good coverage, and she didn't have to. She has a lot of medicines, and they're very expensive, and she didn't have to pay anything for them or very little until the last 2 months of the year, and then she goes in the donut hole, and all of a sudden her medicines are costing her over $1,000 a month. And what she's doing is she's picking which ones to take each week. So this week I'm going to take my blood pressure medicine and make it last for the whole 2 months. And next week I'm going to take my cholesterol medicine and not my blood pressure medicine. And the week after that I'm going to take my diabetes medicine and not the other two. And she's stretching out those medicines over those 2 months because she can't afford to go and buy them. And there are a lot of people who are stuck in that situation, and we're going to help them out tremendously.
Boy, it can't be better. Couldn't be better timing. What, Dr. Page, I really appreciate you giving us your insight, because you're seeing patients 5-6 days a week, so you're living you're living with this more closely than anybody.
Every
With
day.
the business opportunity, yeah, there you go. I just wanted to hit a little bit on the business opportunity, and then I want everyone to know we've recorded this, and I didn't really go heavy into the product because the Bidrx and Bid for My Meds product is so incredible. This electronic marketplace and what it can do is phenomenal. I mean, I could go into looking up 10 different drugs and showing you all the savings, but more importantly, the people you talk to, just like Dr. Page just said, they want to know, you know, the 92-year-old man, he says, well, tell me what this would cost. And you tell him, and it's like, how do I sign up? So the business opportunity kind of makes this a perfect storm. I know that term is overused, but you've got all this pressure in the healthcare world that was already there before all the other changes. And then, you know, higher and higher costs on prescription meds. Like I said, in the last 10 years, they've doubled, and 75% of Americans have taken one in the last 6 months. So there's big numbers in our favor in terms of a business opportunity. And on this page, you know, I said I did everything the way we want. We have, on this page, we show not only, in order to get people excited about this, we did a few things that are really, really neat. It's only $17 to join the business and become a full-blown referral partner, which means you can participate in all the compensation. And the first thing we did was build a 5x6 matrix. And if you don't know what a matrix is, a 5x6 would go, there's you, and then 5 people, and then 25 underneath them, and so forth. And that basically pushes everybody coming into the business into that matrix. And when your matrix is filled, or half full, or whatever, you're making a payment from your efforts, but all the other people's efforts, upline and downline, from you in this matrix. But we wanted to do some things that were really unique, because you say, matrix, that sounds cool. So we have 5 levels of matching bonuses. You get 100% matching bonus on the people you bring in. Now, if a matrix fills up, you're doing really well. If you have a matrix that fills up, you're being paid $19,530 a month, and that's great. And you can break that out weekly or daily, whatever way you want. By the way, we pay on a weekly basis every Friday. But with the 100% matching bonus, if you happen to refer somebody who's a good marketer and likes building and target marketing and stuff, or they have a lot of contacts in different industries or in network marketing or whatever, they can take it to people that are in the skincare and weight loss business, because this doesn't compete with it. It's not hurting anybody. It's saving people money. And that's what makes it so much different. You're telling people like my mom, you get to put $100 extra every month in your pocket. It's not a hard sale. So you combine that with the fact that we have this matching bonus system, which, by the way, Mr. Randy Thompson from, Dallas, Fort Worth area, he's probably a Cowboys fan. I'm sure he is. And I'll let it slide for this evening. But Randy said the first thing when he looked at this 5x6 matrix, he said, "That's really good, and it's I like it because I like the product, and I think it's going to serve people well. But you really need something to make this special." So he came up with the matching bonus, and then a gentleman, a guy that's a very close friend of mine here locally in St. Louis, Mr. Larry Lalamandir, he said, well, you know, Paul, you got to have it so all the people can participate in this compensation plan. You got to make it so that a lot of people can be successful. And so what Craig instructed me, and Craig had many conference calls with a whole bunch of different leaders, and they came up with this business opportunity as you see it now with 5 levels of bonuses that, by the way, can reach down as deep as you want to go because they follow like a family generation. So as you might recruit somebody who's a good business builder and they might wind up on your 3rd level. Well, since you personally recruited them, you're making 100% matching bonus. Imagine if you had 20 people you brought in this business. I mean, it's only $17 a month. That's the cost of a large pizza at Domino's. So you bring in 20 people, and they're all making a few $100s a month. Well, you're getting 100% matching bonus on them, but then on the people they've brought in, you get a 50% matching bonus, and on the people they bring in, 25% matching bonus. And I forgot to mention all your regular matrix bonuses that can go down, 6 levels deep. So it's a very, very powerful pay plan, and it's really designed to leverage a very small amount of money, because this wouldn't work. If it was a real expensive product, people like my mom would say, well, I can't, that's not going to save me any money. I mean, that's the truth. So there's 2 types of endpoints. There's a savings partner, people who just want to save money for $7 a month, and people that want to be a partner, and they come in at $17, which makes it affordable for everybody. I mean, you can take this to the masses. This is different than other businesses because most businesses have a high entry fee, and that money is spent some way that's brought in, but it also leaves out about 90% of the people you talk to. They say, I really like what you've got, but I can't afford that right now, or they got to think about it. Okay, well, it's $17. They don't have to think about it, and your matrix can fill up fast. And then all those good people that you've brought in or you referred, it could be somebody who's never been involved in marketing anything. They send people there. They say, hey, check it out. Try this for free. It's different than other products because they can see their outcome. Just like Paige just said, the 92-year-old guy that was in his office, he looks at it and says, that saves me money. How do I get going on this? That's what my mother said. And my mom knows nothing about marketing. Okay? It's just, where do I sign up? And I said, well, Mom, we're going to get you signed up. And she said, I meet in the cafeteria at the retirement center. She moved in the middle of summer. She says, I talk to these ladies. She sits with them every day. And they gossip about everything. They talk about their kids and I'm sure everything else under the sun. But bottom line is she'll share that with them. So I said, Mom, you got to make a decision whether you're going to be a referral partner. This is me talking to my mom. You're going to be a referral partner or a savings partner. She said, I want to be a referral partner because I know all these people complain about the cost of their prescription, so I want to be a referral partner. See, it's a real easy decision when you're saving that much money. It's like a no-brainer. So we're excited about what's happening here. The compensation plan is outstanding, and because it pays, and Dr. Page, just prior to this, he was driving home, and I invited him to join us on the call. He said, Paul, this is really special because you got the 5x6 matrix that can pay all this money, up to $19,530 a month. But then these matching bonuses, they can drop down as deep as you want to go. Those people that you personally recruited and the people they bring in. So that's not limited by any 6 levels. It's generational, just like a family tree. There's you and your children and your grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And then you're picking up all these matching bonuses on them. The matching bonuses run on 5 levels, starting with 100% at the top level, which is the biggie. But if you add up that one at the lowest level, Mr. Mike Richter from Parham, Minnesota is on with us tonight. Mike added up what that can mean. I'll tell you, I can't give projections on these webinars, and I don't want to, and it'd be too hard to do it. But you add up what those ones down at the 4th and 5th level can do. So this is really exciting, and we're just pleased that we're turning it on. By the way, we took it down. We did our load testing, so we turned off the enrollment process because we had a lot of people that were getting kind of frustrated with us, like, why are you doing this? And we didn't really want to tell them. There was just a lot of live data we needed to do some testing. And there's, as I said, we're going to be adding things, not changing the compensation or anything, but we're going to be adding marketing materials and things like that that you can print out from your back office, all for free, by the way. But there's a lot of stuff we'll add, so we're constantly planning to add value, not take any out. And then the comp plan speaks for itself, and so does the product. So just making sure everything was working the way we expected for paying commissions and delivering the product was just paramount, and that we've arrived at that. So we'll send out a notification. The join up on the home page does not work now. We took it down this afternoon on purpose, and we're gonna send out a notification to everybody tomorrow, telling you when it will be turned back on. It'll be very shortly, so it's not any long wait. And what I would recommend right now is everyone on this call to reach all those matching bonuses are the biggest ones, the 100%, the 50%, the 25%. I'd recommend to reach that level, you have to refer 10 people at $17 a month. And once again, that's very low cost. I have people say, that's crazy, it's so easy. Well, it's not easy for everybody, okay, but it is only $17. So I would get together your 5 or your 10 to make sure you kick into gear with the 5 levels of matching bonuses right out of the gates. And we'll send a note tomorrow when you can go back to enrolling people. As I said, we let people trickle in, and we're load testing. And some people actually experienced errors where a good friend of mine who lives down in Arkansas, I didn't think he joined us tonight, but he said, hey, I went to put in myself and my brother, and I got an error message. And it's like, I was like, oh, gosh. And so our guys fixed that. And you just kind of have to go through that when it's brand new and it's all custom made for a particular application. So we're just really excited about what's happening here, and we really appreciate everyone joining us tonight. And thanks a million, Dr. Page, for giving us your insight, because you're ground zero with this thing. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.